the second I stepped onto the porch of my late grandmother's house carrying her old oak dresser. A shrill voice cut through the quiet suburban morning like a chainsaw. "Freeze right there. You thief! I've got you on camera, smile for the cops." There she stood at the edge of my driveway in a crisp white pantsuit. Phone held horizontally like a weapon. Blonde helmet hair vibrating with righteous fury. I was sweating. Muscles burning under 70 pounds of antique wood. And this woman was already dialing 911 like I'd just robbed a bank in broad daylight. "My name is Ryan Caldwell. 3 days earlier, I was a burned-out high school history teacher in a cramped apartment. Still recovering from a vicious smear campaign at my old complex where a neighbor falsely accused me of aggressive behavior after I refused to let her bully my dog. The rumors spread like wildfire online. People I'd never met called me unstable. I kept my head down, documented everything, and eventually cleared my name. Now I had inherited this beautiful old house on the edge of Evergreen Hills. A picture-perfect gated community outside Atlanta. Grandma's property had been grandfathered out of the HOA when the development went up 20 years ago, a stubborn little island of freedom surrounded by their manicured nightmare. I thought I was finally getting peace. I was wrong. The cops arrived fast. Lights flashing across the identical beige McMansions. Karen, her real name was Karen Langley, president of the Evergreen Hills HOA, rushed the first officer, pointing a perfectly manicured finger at me. "Arrest him. He's looting the place." "I have video proof." The deputy, a tired-looking guy named Ramirez who clearly knew her, glanced at my U-Haul, then at me. "Ma'am, did you witness a break-in?" "Well, he has a key," she sputtered. "But he must have stolen it." "Mrs. Caldwell had no family left. This man is clearly a squatter who saw the obituary." I set the dresser down carefully, pulled the folder from my back pocket, and handed it over. "Officer, I'm Ryan Caldwell. Here's the will, the deed, my ID, and the death certificate. This is my grandmother's house. I'm moving in." Ramirez scanned the papers for about 20 seconds. Then nodded. "Everything checks out. Mr. Caldwell. Sorry for your loss." He turned to Karen. "Ma'am, the property isn't part of your HOA. He's not breaking any laws. Go home before I cite you for a false report." Karen's face went from tomato red to ghostly white. Her perfectly lined lips twisted. "You're making a huge mistake. Officer. This drifter is going to destroy our property values. Look at him, sweaty. Unkempt. Probably unstable. We have standards here." She lowered her voice just enough for me to hear the threat. "You don't belong in Evergreen Hills, Caldwell. People like you get removed." Then she spun on her designer heels and marched back to her oversized colonial, hips swinging like she still owned the moment. Ramirez gave me a quiet warning before leaving. "Watch your back. She's had her eye on this lot for years, wants it for some big community expansion. Document everything." That night, I found Grandma's old journal in the desk drawer. Page after page detailed her battles with that Langley woman. Offers to buy the house cheap. False complaints. Police calls. One entry ended with, "She'll never get this land while I'm breathing. Don't let her win when I'm gone." The war had already begun. The next morning started innocently enough. I was out front trimming the hedge when a bright orange envelope appeared on my mailbox. Official HOA letterhead. Notice of violation, visual nuisance impact on adjacent community. Grass too long, measured at 2.7 inches. Unauthorized wooden fence posts. My older truck visible from the street. Curtains not the approved ivory cream. They even claimed my grandmother's rose bushes were degrading neighborhood aesthetics. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the clippers. Grandma's house wasn't in the HOA. Their rules had zero legal power here. I crumpled the letter and tossed it in the recycling. Big mistake. An hour later, a little convoy rolled up, Karen's white Range Rover leading. Followed by a nervous guy in a polo shirt she kept calling Todd. They parked on the public road right at my property line. Karen stepped out clutching a clipboard like a battle shield. Todd carried a camera and laser measure. Document everything. Todd, she barked. Close-ups of that truck. Those fence posts are not HOA-approved material. And that grass, clear violation of the perimeter aesthetic clause. I walked over. Still holding the hedge clippers. Morning. Karen. You guys taking a tour? She didn't even look at me. We're enforcing the visual nuisance bylaws that apply to properties bordering our community. Your mess is dragging down our values. We can and will lien this place if you don't comply. I kept my voice even. Karen. Your bylaws stop at that line. This property is independent, court ruled it years ago. You're welcome to take pictures. But you can't find me. She finally met my eyes. A cold little smile playing on her lips. Oh honey. You clearly didn't read the 2018 county amendment. There's an easement. Non-compliance means we can force a sale. It's happened before. The last owner folded after we made his life hell. Todd looked uncomfortable. Wiping sweat from his forehead. It really is easier if you just follow the guidelines. Man. Shut up. Todd, Karen snapped. Measure the grass again. I watched them for a minute. Blood simmering. She wasn't enforcing rules, she was trying to break me so I'd sell cheap. This wasn't about grass height. It was millions in development money. Grandma had written about the investors sniffing around. That evening I dug through her files and found the 2018 court order, Evergreen Hills HOA vs. Evelyn Caldwell, judgment for the defendant. Zero jurisdiction. No easement. Then I found the emails she'd printed, Karen offering Grandma $180,000 for a property worth over $1 million. Threatening regulatory pressure if she refused. The journal entries grew darker, police wellness checks. Anonymous complaints to my old school about me being unstable, even a rumor campaign suggesting Grandma had dementia and I was taking advantage. She had done this before. And now she was doing it to me. I couldn't sleep that night. At 3 a.m. The motion lights by the back fence flicked on. I checked the new cameras I'd installed earlier that day, ring on the house. Trail cams in the trees. And a hidden GoPro facing the fence line. A figure in black athletic wear was moving along my property line carrying a ladder and a 5-gallon bucket. It was Karen. She set the ladder against the fence. Climbed up. And started pouring something thick and dark onto my patio, probably paint or sludge meant to prove I was trashing the place so they could claim a public nuisance. I didn't run out yelling. I opened the irrigation app Grandma had installed for her prize roses. One high-pressure zone pointed right at that fence. I waited until she was perfectly balanced on the top rung. Bucket raised. Then I hit manual override, zone 3. The jet hit her square in the chest like a fire hose. She shrieked, a high-pitched, undignified wail, as the ladder wobbled. She flailed. Dropped the bucket. And toppled backward into the muddy ditch on the other side. The thick liquid, it was bright pink exterior paint, splashed everywhere. Coating her designer black outfit and face. She lay there sputtering. Covered head to toe in mud and Pepto-Bismol pink. I stepped onto the porch with my phone recording. Hello? Is someone out there? I thought I heard an animal. I called in fake panic. shining my flashlight over the fence. "Oh my God, Karen? Are you okay? What on earth are you doing on my property at 3 in the morning with a ladder and paint?" Todd came scrambling out of the bushes. "Karen! Oh no, this is bad. Help me up." "You idiot," she screamed. Pink paint dripping from her helmet hair. I kept filming. "Should I call the police again? You're trespassing. Looks like you're trying to vandalize my house." The video hit my private YouTube channel and a local Facebook group within the hour. By noon it had 50,000 views. HOA Karen Gets Hosed was trending locally. People were laughing. But I knew I'd just poked the hornet's nest. The next day I was served with an emergency injunction. Karen was claiming I was running an illegal dumping operation, complete with photoshopped photos of toxic barrels on my land. She called an emergency HOA meeting to vote on removing the threat to community safety and pushing the county to seize my property under eminent domain. My new friend Morgan, a sharp journalist who lived 3 doors into the HOA and had been quietly investigating Karen for months, told me we had one shot. Todd's the weak link. He does her dirty work, but he's terrified. Flip him and the whole thing collapses. We found Todd at the local Starbucks, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Morgan slid into the booth beside him before he could run. "Karen's going down. Todd. Forgery. Fraud. Embezzlement from the HOA reserve fund. When the real cops come, who do you think she'll throw under the bus?" Todd's hands shook so hard he spilled his latte. She promised me a cut. My kid needs braces. I didn't know it would get this bad." That night the community center was packed, 200 furious homeowners ready for a lynching. Karen stood on stage in a fresh power suit, looking every inch the concerned leader. "This man is a danger to our children and our investments," she boomed. "These documents prove contamination. We must act." I walked down the aisle with Morgan. "Those documents are fake," I said loudly. Security moved toward me, but I plugged my phone into the AV system. The sprinkler video played on the giant screen behind Karen, her scream. The fall. The pink paint explosion. The crowd first gasped, then started laughing, then whispering. "Turn that off," Karen shrieked, clawing at the projector. "It's manipulated." A shaky voice came from the side of the stage. "It's not manipulated, Karen." Todd stepped into the light, voice cracking but determined. "I helped her fake the photos. She made me do it. She's been skimming from the reserve fund for years to pay her lawyers. I have the emails, the recordings." He held up a flash drive. The room erupted. Board members looked at each other in horror. Karen lunged at Todd. "You sniveling little rat, shut your mouth." Then the back doors flew open. A young woman in her 20s, eyes red from crying, pushed through. "Mom. Stop." It was Chloe, Karen's daughter. The room went dead silent. "I saw the video. This is exactly what you did to Grandma. You gaslit her. Forged papers. Put her in a home so you could sell her house and fund your little empire. I found the documents. You're not protecting the neighborhood, you're destroying lives for money." Karen's mask shattered completely. Her face twisted into something ugly and desperate. "I did it for us. For our future. I deserve this, I built this community." She was screaming now, veins bulging. "I am the HOA." Sirens wailed outside. Real police this time. Deputy Ramirez walked in with detectives. "Karen Langley. You're under arrest for fraud, forgery, embezzlement, and elder abuse." She fought them, actually tried to bite one officer, while shrieking about property values the entire way out the side door. The silence that followed was beautiful. Then the applause started, slow at first. Then thunderous. Pure relief. In the weeks that followed, everything crumbled for Karen. Todd took a plea and turned state's witness, helping recover nearly $400,000 she'd stolen from the HOA. The entire board resigned. Morgan was elected president and immediately gutted the ridiculous visual nuisance rules. The big development deal died without my land. Chloe used money from selling Karen's house to repay victims. I'm still here in Grandma's house. The fence is fixed. The roses are blooming. Some evenings I sit on the porch with a beer, listening to the crickets. And I swear I can hear Grandma chuckling. The new HOA board actually invited me to the summer block party. I went. Brought potato salad. Nobody said a word about my grass. Here's the truth nobody in those perfect suburbs wants to admit: bullies like Karen don't thrive because the rules are on their side. They thrive because good people stay quiet. But when you document, when you wait patiently, and when you have really good sprinklers, the mask always slips. So tell me, folks, was Karen just doing her job enforcing community standards? Or was she a straight-up criminal who finally got what she deserved? Would you have stayed silent? Or would you have turned the hose on? Drop your own HOA horror stories below. I read every single one.